Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to use the word allocators, whether whoever is the person who is allocating your money to different asset classes and different fund managers, right? So whether it is a bank RM or RIA or MFD, I'm not getting into it, or you're doing it yourself. So the question to ask is, how does one allocator look for competent fund managers, right? So first of all, the allocator wants a trustworthy fund manager. Is this fund manager trustworthy? That's the question that he's asking. Is this process trustworthy? That's the question he's asking. So how does one go about doing it, and how is it a good process, and does he actually get the best allocation, or is he just getting an illusion that he is doing a good job, right? So what first thing is, you're looking for whether the process itself is legitimate, whether it's a good business, in the sense whether they have enough people in the operations, in compliance, etc., in audit, internal audit, right? All those things, is all that in place? Now that kind of a due diligence can rarely be done by a simple allocator who's got very small amount of assets. This is perhaps possible for big houses to do a due diligence on fund houses, and then say, oh, this fund house is eligible, this scheme of theirs is eligible. Is it possible for the small IFA to do it? No. So, or the small allocator to do it? The answer is no. So he or she has to go by believing, oh, the big people must have done it, kind of a thing. The due diligence process actually has to perform you have to just got to determine whether the manager is indeed trustworthy, whether he's got a legitimate business, whether he's got good governance structure, operations, reporting, controls, a track record, right? You can look at all that largely from what is available in the press, rather than by asking any AMC. No AMC is going to come and tell you all this, we have all this. It is just assumed that because the AMC is in the business that they have all this, but that's again an assumption that you're making. And you do not know whether it is right or wrong. And after this, you go to the fund manager competence or the process competence. Do they have a process document? Do they have a process document which they can share with you and say, this is the process that we use? And do they have a fund manager who has stayed there long enough to believe in the process document? So largely you have to see what the fund manager has done in the past, see how he has performed, right, all that. And we also know that past performance is not a great indicator of what is going to happen in the future. Also in the US, the incompetence of the fund managers are very well documented. In India, they are not well documented. Nobody is going to share with you the mistakes that a fund manager has done in the past, etc. So some fund managers do share whatever mistakes they made. Many fund managers do not. Also, the breadth of what a allocator can see, right? Right now, there are 42 fund houses. Let us say 6-7 fund managers in each fund house. That gives you close to 270, 280 fund managers. Is it possible that you find all the data about all of them in some kind of a yearbook or something? The answer is no. So then you have to depend on the process more than you thought earlier. So you look at the process. Not too many of them will share a process document with you, or say something very vague like we pick up undervalued stocks, we pick up stocks with a high ROCE and moat and things like that, or we pick up value, we pick up growth. But I honestly wouldn't know, can they put the numbers of value and growth in just numerical terms, just a number, saying if the PE is so much it is value, if the PE is so much it is growth. Is it just PE, is it price to book, is it price to or just price to earning, it is ROCE, it is, then you're saying they have got moats or they don't have moats. If a company does not have good ROCE but has good moats, will you consider it, right? All this has to be said somewhere, which the allocator is able to access and able to read and understand and then implement. This looks like a very, very difficult process. So it is more heuristic. They were to say, oh, everybody seems to have done a due diligence. This fund manager has 20,000 crores. It can't be wrong. That's again not a very bad way of reaching that conclusion, simply because it's a shortcut that you're taking. The other way people decide is when they meet at conferences, annual conferences of allocators, where many of them meet. There is no one common allocator where all the national distributors, the banks and the individuals meet. There is no very few such meets, right? So across that, then there are influencers who tell you, oh, I think this fund manager is good, I've been investing for so many years. So that carries a lot of weight. So you may not even understand the value of PR, but the value of PR is high because these influencers are the persons who are going to say that these fund managers matter. Then there are many fund managers who come and speak at these functions. So that is also important, because one very important thing which I notice is there warmth in the I somehow feel and I realize that if the fund manager is warm and is willing to accept his mistakes, then people are willing to condone him, allow him his mistakes. But if a fund manager is very arrogant and you can make out that very quickly, then people are not willing to give that person too much room, right? Then it has to be sheer performance, brilliance or things like that. Then fund managers with longer track record, fund managers who have been with bigger houses. There are 42 fund houses in India or 45 fund houses in India. For you to be able to find your visibility is very important, because if you are 37th or 34th or something like that, will you be able to come into the top and be visible at all? If you are an ICICI or HDFC or in that category, or maybe even UTI or SBI, then at least people know about you, you've been there long enough. But if you are 37th in that list or 38th in that list, there are very little chances of you being visible to the allocator. So it is very important for such fund houses to even attend all the national distributors, banks, or the RIA meets or the MFD meets, so that at least people know about that fund house. Otherwise, out of sight, out of mind is what happens. So they don't even consider you. Then there is no question of knowing whether you are competent. So first of all, for a fund house, from a fund house point of view, you have to be visible. People should know you. Your fund managers should be willing to mingle with the people and talk to them. People have to see them. That is very important. It is easy to say, oh, we will do meets for the top MFDs or banks and things like that. That's not enough. Everybody has to see you. So whether you're doing an event in Chennai or whether you're doing an event in Calcutta, Delhi, Mumbai, doesn't really matter. Mumbai obviously has got more events which happen because it's easier to get everybody into Mumbai, and you know that fund managers are more easily accessible in Mumbai. So many of the events happen in Mumbai. So being visible there, talking to the MFDs or allocators, as I call them in this, all that is important for a fund to be even visible. To make documents, share the documents, create a PPT out of those documents and share the PPT. All this is very important if a fund wants to get noticed. And if a fund allocator has to see you, you have to be visible, you have to be warm, you have to not use mumbo jumbo. All those things are important. Competence comes, I think, number 8 or number 9, because one does not really know how to use past data to predict the future data. Thank you.